I am California of the past.
I
I
am
am California
California
of the
of the
past.
past.
I am
I
I
am
am
California
California
of
of
California
the
the
of the
past.
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 My name is John Jung, and I was born in 1937 in Macon, Georgia. A lot of people have always asked me how our family got there. My parents were immigrants from China, and they settled in Georgia because that's where they had friends who helped them get started. We were the only Chinese family in our entire city, so that made it a rather unusual situation. We grew up during the era where segregation was still very strong between whites against blacks. And even though we were not treated as badly as blacks, nonetheless, we did feel culturally isolated, and we were sometimes targets of, joking and teasing and stuff like that. I knew a lot about Chinese immigrants from my mother because she told us when we were very small how Chinese were treated in America and how they were excluded and so forth. So I learned very early on that we had to really, fend for ourselves and, be careful in terms of getting into trouble or altercations with other people. My parents came over basically as paper sons, which means that they used someone else's documents, which was very common at that time for many Chinese in the United States. So that always sort of made me very aware of being Chinese, and yet at the same time, we really didn't know what it meant to be Chinese because we had so little contact with other Chinese people. We did have an uncle who lived in Atlanta. He also ran a laundry. And we would sometimes go visit him, and he would sometimes come visit us. So that was a very meaningful part of our life as kids because that helped us know what it meant to be Chinese because you need to see other people like yourself. We got along pretty well in the community. We did well in school, and so we were never really badly mistreated. But growing up and feeling sort of more and more, I guess, cultural conflict with our parents even because we were so Americanized. And our parents, of course, being immigrants from China, wanted us to be more Chinese. So we had some, acquisition of Chinese culture and language, but at the same time, we sometimes had friction with our parents, quite understandably. And so sometimes we didn't really feel comfortable being Chinese, and we had other obligations to help out in the family business. We had to work in the laundry. We had to be translators for our parents. And at school, when there'd be functions, our parents would never go. They'd have PTA meetings. My parents would never go. So kind of felt a little bad about that, But as I grew older, I could appreciate and understand their situation, and I grew to have more admiration and respect for what they were able to do in terms of coming to another country, not knowing the language, not knowing anyone of their own background, and bringing up the family and taking care of us. And so I guess it's from that perspective that I decided later in life to write this memoir, Southern Fried Rice, which sort of shares the story of what that family experience was like and some of the difficulties that they dealt with. Eventually, we did move to San Francisco when I was 15, and part of that was because our parents felt it was important for us to move to a community or a region of the country where there were many Chinese. And San Francisco probably was the best place we could go to for that point of view. So I think that itself also shows the dedication and commitment that our parents had for us, that they made a lot of sacrifices for us because they lived a real life of hardship in the South And it was only when they moved to California that they were able to sort of enjoy their retirement being in a Chinese community.